Hi, I'm Vanessa Lake, mental health therapist and spiritual practitioner, and I'm tapping into both my skill sets to cover today's topic, Chakras 101. What they are, why you need to know about them, how they affect your life, and how to work with them for better mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So if you've ever felt stuck, anxious, ungrounded, or just off, your chakras might be part of that story. And it's usually not just one single chakra. You're a whole system, and they all work together. I'll give you an example of what that looks like, how one block affects the whole system, and show you what it looks like when they're all in alignment, how powerful that is. So let's dive in. What are the chakras? Chakras are energy centers in your body, kind of like emotional batteries. When they're charged and flowing, you feel balanced. When they're blocked, you feel drained, stuck, or out of alignment. Your chakras affect everything: your mood, relationships, confidence, creativity, intuition, even your physical health. As a therapist, I see the psychology of chakras all the time: unprocessed trauma, not feeling safe in the body, locked emotions, poor boundaries, limiting beliefs, migraines, upset stomach, back pain. They all show up in the energy system. And I'll share with you how to heal the side effects of those imbalances with tangible practices you can start using today. But first, let's break them down one at a time. I'll cover the main 7 chakras that most people talk about, and then cover 3 lesser known ones that I also work with. Number 1, the root chakra. It is the frequency of the color red and holds the energy of I am safe. It's located at the base of the spine, think tailbone. So it impacts safety, stability, money, right? That is some people's sense of security. You have to have money in this world to be able to buy food and have shelter. And it's your sense of belonging. Signs of it being blocked include anxiety, money stress, feeling ungrounded, unsafe in your own body, constant survival mode, high trauma, right? So, the healing practices include grounding exercises that get you out of your head or your emotions and feeling into your present situation in your body. This might include a 5-4-3-2-1 grounding, which includes naming 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. This brings you back into your body fast. It could also be physical sensation getting you in that body, such as taking a hot or cold shower, having a smell that is associated with a positive memory, right? Takes you back to the present moment. I am safe. I feel, okay in my body. Security is another issue. So making, a budget can be very helpful for balancing this root chakra center. A simple budget of looking at your wants versus your needs, just tracking your money first. I've had people who had no idea how much they were spending on, eating out and fast food until they did a budget. And they're like, oh, dang, I didn't realize that's where all my money was going. Made some changes, felt more secure with their finances, more in control, less anxiety. Some other things you can do is grounding by walking barefoot on the actual earth. There's some frequencies of earth that your feet can pick up on that can help you ground. You can also use red crystals as it matches the frequency of the chakra and can support it. Eating root vegetables for the root chakra. Yes, but they're from underground, so they're more grounded. So think, potatoes, the underground, vegetables. All right, next up, the sacral chakra. This is the frequency of the color orange and the emotions I feel. The location is the lower belly under your belly button, think pelvic region. It impacts your emotions, sexuality, creativity, pleasure. It's the things that you want to give birth to. It's not just about being, female or gender or anything. Everybody wants to create something, give birth to a dream, manifest. That comes from the sacral. So signs of blockage include numbness, shame, creative blocks. You're not manifesting, giving birth to those things you want to. Sexual issues, not feeling comfortable in those situations or not speaking up. It's also about having healthy boundaries. So the healing practice would include telling people no, setting up your boundaries. First, you have to tune into what your needs are. What do you feel? If somebody's just even simply asking you if you want to attend a party, instead of people pleasing or saying, oh, well, I can't because, I can't say no because it might hurt their feelings or something. Tune into what you want. Is there something else you wanted to do? Is it truly something you wanted? And then having boundaries in place. It may be, okay, I'm going to go, but I can only stay for an hour because you have other obligations or things that you want to do. Another thing you can do is you can look up the feelings wheel. Literally, you can Google it, and do some journaling. You just randomly pick a feeling off the wheel so that you can get in touch with your emotions. Write 3 sentences starting with I feel, pick the emotion, because, and then finish the sentence. This allows you to tap into every emotion, knowing that every emotion is a messenger and none of them are bad or wrong. And we all have times when we feel these things, even, jealousy or, anger, regret, all the emotions. Also looking into your pleasure center. It's not just sexual pleasure, it's enjoying your experience as a human body. That's things like, a good cup of tea, a delicious dessert in moderation, music, bubble baths, it's writing down 5 small, safe pleasures and then intentionally doing one each day. It may just be sitting outside and, watching the sunrise in peace and quiet. And that just feels amazing, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. Again, think human experience. Dancing, that's another good one. Water, because your emotions are represented by the energy of water and flow. So being near water, going for a swim somewhere, and then also eating orange-colored foods supports the sacral, which also includes on a physical level, your kidneys, your bladder, reproductive organs, all that kind of stuff. So if you've got issues with that, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got these, reoccurring kidney stones or something, definitely want to be looking at that sacral chakra for that. All right, solar plexus chakra. It is the frequency of the color yellow, and it represents the energy of I do. It is the action taking. It's located in the upper stomach, above the belly button. It impacts your confidence, your willpower, again, taking action, and self-worth. How do you feel, about yourself? What value and worth do you have? Do you let other people determine that? So signs of blocks are low self-esteem, people-pleasing, which also coincides with that sacral, right? Not having good boundaries can lead to this people-pleasing. Also can lead to control issues and anger, right? Having too much of this fire solar plexus energy could be a lot of anger. This can show up as stomach issues as far as acid reflux, on the extreme stomach ulcers, just digestive issues, right? Like if you've got an emotional stomach, as they say, well, that's your solar plexus, right? You get nervous, you lack confidence, and your stomach starts to feel upset. So some healing practices, you can do the superhero pose for 30 seconds. You stand with your fist on your hips, chest out, chin up. You're embodying the superhero confidence, right? Your body wants to be in homeostasis. It wants to match the physical. So if you are physically having body posture that says, I am confident, I got this, I can handle this, then your brain will think of thoughts and create the chemical reaction to feel more confident. So you can do this in the bathroom before you have a meeting with your boss, before you have to do something that's challenging, having a difficult conversation with your teenager, anywhere where you might need some confidence. You can also do a self-talk swap, right? It's about self-esteem and how are you treating yourself, self-compassion. Write one of your limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, and replace it with a realistic reframe. I'm learning and growing every day. My worth is not determined by other people. I don't need to be productive to prove I have value. These are some big ones. Other things you can do is work with yellow crystals and sunbathing. Really just put yourself out in the sun. There's a solar plexus, solar energy for a reason. They coincide. So recharge your solar battery by getting out in the sun. Core strengthening, so doing like yoga or doing the plank challenge, doing a 30-day plank challenge, working on your core on the physical level can also support this. Next up is the heart chakra, the frequency of green or pink, depending upon, and it is the energy of I love. Always starting with yourself, by the way. It is located in the center of your chest, I mean, it's your heart, so that makes sense. It impacts love, self-love. Again, if you don't love yourself, it limits your ability to love other people. Compassion. Compassion is with understanding, not condoning or approving of people's behavior that is harmful, but compassion is simply understanding. Also, being compassionate with yourself, not so hard on yourself. Forgiveness. Also, grief. Grief is held often in the lungs, which is in the chest area, so not just the heart as an organ, but the lungs as well. So, again, this can show up as heart issues, lung issues, asthma, chronic, lung issues, pneumonia, bronchitis. You could be holding grief. You could be holding blocks to love, self-love, or others, right? Lack of trusting other people, not feeling safe to be vulnerable and open puts up those walls, and then you have emotional and physical responses from that. Signs of the blocks, as I said, was the walls being put up, bitterness, codependency, relying on other people to make you feel loved instead of loving yourself enough that you don't need it from others. It's just icing on the cake to get it from other people, but to be able to sit alone, empty room, just with yourself and say, "Ooh, I am loved." That's healing that chakra center. So the healing practices include a gratitude letter. Write a letter that you don't have to send of gratitude to someone else, right? Express that love to them. So it could be somebody from your past, somebody who's passed on, who's not alive anymore, expressing the gratitude and love and forgiveness, writing that letter of forgiveness. Again, if they're unhealthy, toxic, you don't need them in your life, but you still need to let go. And forgiveness is just about letting go of your emotional attachment. It's not about them earning it, deserving it, has nothing to do with the other person. It's you saying, I am ready to release holding on to this memory, this situation, whatever happened. Making self-compassion breaks. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, you start to feel a little hard on yourself, place your hand on your chest, feel your heart, and say, this is hard, but I'm not alone. I give myself kindness right now. Other ways to support this would be green foods, rose quartz, or green aventurine. Again, it's the pink or green, depending upon the frequency of the love. And doing breath work. Again, the lung stuff. One of my favorites is the double inhale. And then exhale really helps reset the nervous system and activates the calming side of it. So you would breathe in through your belly and then take another inhale through your chest and then exhale out the mouth. So double inhale and an exhale. Next up is the throat chakra. So that is the frequency of the color blue and the energy of I speak. More importantly, I speak truth. It's not about speaking to please other people. Again, the people pleasing is the other chakra centers. So you're speaking your truth. It's communication, authenticity, expression. It's located in the throat because of your vocal cords. So if you've got issues with your thyroid, as a lot of people do, there may be suppressing your truth. You might be speaking either way, too harshly, or you might be having a fear of speaking up. You are in a staff meeting and you hear your boss say something that you disagree with, but you're like, oh, I better not say anything, better not speak up, even though everyone in the room is looking, and thinking the same thing. So again, it's about speaking your truth, but not in an aggressive way, not in a way that tears other people down, right? Oh, I'm just honest. I'm just honest. Yeah, but are you cruel? Because there's honesty with compassion. It's not about knocking other people down with, well, that's the truth. No, that's just being an ass. And we don't do that. So other signs of blocks would be, lying, right? I don't want to get in trouble. I'm afraid of other people's judgment, so I'm not going to speak my truth. Or just not expressing your needs. And that can be multiple chakras in there, depending upon if you don't feel safe to express your needs, or you've shut down, your emotional center, your boundaries, because you're like, well, my needs haven't been met by anybody else, so I'm just not going to share them with others. Healing practices, obviously speaking your truth without being an ass, and rehearsing I statements. So instead of that defensive, aggressive judgment of the other person, right? The attacking language that will shut down other people or trigger their own unsafe, response. Instead of you never listen, focusing on the other person, the I statement is always focusing on you. I feel. unheard when conversations are interrupted. It's always I feel something when, and then you state the behavior. It is the behavior, not the general characteristics, right? I feel unheard when you're being selfish. What is selfish? That's subjective. That doesn't really explain anything. Be specific with the behavior, which allows the person the capability of changing the behavior. You can practice this in a mirror. You can practice it in a journal until you build up the confidence to then send it. And again, I'm all about the baby steps. So if you have to firstly assert your boundaries, speak your truth, and you've got to do it in an email or a text or something, because that's where you feel safe enough to start, then by all means, just start somewhere. There's also the practice of a voice note release. Basically, you just voice record yourself saying what you really feel. Here you can be an ass because you're not going to send it. Get it all out. Just express yourself. Your emotions don't care about the reality of whether they're heard by the other person or their response. They just want to be expressed. So get it off your chest. And then once all the emotions are expressed, your truth is, then you can narrow that down to an I statement or what you actually want to say, or, without getting fired if you need to say something to your boss, right? But it's about expressing it, not suppressing it. And then end up with a sore throat, strep throat, thyroid issues. You don't need any of that. Other things you can do, singing. Singing is great for emotional expression, right? You find the song that has lyrics that you're like, yes, it's exactly how I'm feeling. Yes. So sing it. Chanting, again, musical notes have tones and frequency in and of themselves. Working with blue crystals, and then just journaling. It really is about getting things off your chest, expressed your truth that no one else has to know or see. Share what you feel safe to do so. Share the edited version that's going to come across less aggressive. All right, next up, the third eye chakra. This is the frequency of indigo. Indigo is a purple blue. It's very dark, almost navy, but it's got some purple hints in it. It is the energy of I see, because it is your third eye. So it's wrapped around the whole vision center, the forehead kind of thing. So blockages obviously would be headaches or vision issues. Located between the eyebrows. It impacts your intuition, your insight, so the inner vision, being able to see things in your mind's eye, your imagination, and clarity, being able to see clearly what you want, seeing clearly how other people are, right? Wearing rose-colored glasses, as they say, because you want to see the best in other people, but that doesn't make it true. They could be very unhealthy and selfish and draining and toxic, maybe even abusive, but you're like, oh, but I want to see the best in them. You need clarity. That's actually a disservice to your third eye if you are not seeing the truth of who they are and then allowing behaviors that can damage you in other ways. So signs of blockages would be some of the mental stuff, so like overthinking, headaches, cynicism, so just being super negative, only seeing things like you're wearing, sunglasses all the time. I mean, it goes either way, right? You got rose-colored glasses, or you're wearing dark sunglasses, even on a sunny day. Like, everything is dark, everything is bad. Like that's not clarity. Lack of direction, again, not being able to see your next steps, see where you are going. So that would be signs of blockages. Some healing practices would be practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness is just being present in the moment and noticing. It's not about clearing your mind, emptying it out, and thinking nothing, because that would be being dead. I assume like your brain works all the time for a reason. It's a matter of what thoughts are you letting in, like what are you, allowing to come through. So mindfulness, being mindful, present with your current situation, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, sensations. You're filling your mind with just the present moment instead of going to the past or the future and then freaking out. Guided imagery. So guided meditations are fantastic, especially for overthinking. You're giving your brain something to do. With guided meditations, sometimes silence can be an open invitation for your brain to just spin out of control. But the guided steps tells your brain what to focus on, what to see or experience or feel. And if it's a meditation that creates space for you to get your own messages, then that also builds your intuition. I love the like meet your spirit guide or meet your dragon type of meditations because they do both. They guide you through what you're supposed to see, feel. Maybe you're in a field, maybe you're in a forest, and then they create pause and say, okay, what message does your spirit guide have for you? Ask them this question and then wait for a response. And then you're building your intuition and getting your own messages in that way without having so much silence that your brain's just, running wild. I myself have my own Reiki infused guided meditations on my website. So again, if you're looking for that guided meditation to help calm the mind, but give it something to do, you can check those out. Other things you can do is just mind dump journaling. It's just at the end of the day for 5 minutes, set a timer and just empty your mind. I call it the brain drain everything out of it. And that clears up space for clarity. And the visual allows you to see what's repetitive. If you find something's repetitive 4 nights in a row, then what action do you need to take on it? Other things you can do would be using indigo crystals and creating vision boards. The visions can stimulate the emotional response because it is actually the emotion, the frequency of the emotion that attracts the thing that you want. It's not like, oh, I want a new car and it has to look like this. It's what do you want to feel? Well, I want security. I don't want the car to break down. I want to feel safe in my vehicle with all these people on the road. I don't want something super tiny that's going to get crunched if it's in an accident. Like, what do you want to feel by having this thing that's on your vision board? But the visual is often triggering for a lot of people to say, ooh, that's what that vision makes me feel. I feel freedom. I feel secure. I feel safe. So creating those vision boards to create the feeling and then being open to how it shows up. All right, the crown chakra. So this is at the top of the head. It's the frequency of violet or white. It shows up both ways. Again, it's kind of like the heart pink green. This is a violet white. It is the energy of I know. It's your sense of knowing. It can impact your connection to your higher self, spirituality, and meaning. So your deeper meaning in life. Why are you here? Slightly soul purpose, although that's more of another chakra actually. But it's still that connection to the higher self. Signs of being blocked is feeling disconnected, hopeless, spiritual bypassing. So what that is using your spirituality to avoid your human experience, right? Like, well, if I was more spiritual, I wouldn't feel these low vibe emotions like anger or grief. So then you just deny those emotions or you minimize it, which is part of your human experience. It's okay to say, ooh, I felt angry. I'm not less spiritual because I felt angry. I don't stay there and feed it and, go down a rabbit hole and then do horrible things, behavior wise because of the anger, but I still feel all the human emotions. It's also not about excusing other people's treatment of you, right? That makes you a doormat. Oh, well, I'm spiritual, so I'm not bothered by what they do. Well, if they're being an ass, then yeah, you get to be bothered by that and you get to set some boundaries and you get to speak your truth and you get to say, hey, knock that shit off. That's still being spiritual. So some healing practices. First of all, look at your values. Your values are what anchor in the meaning, right? So if you value honesty, but you yourself don't speak your truth, then you're not living your value, right? So write down your top 5 values and one small daily action you can take to express that value. I would also go further to say, look at your values to find out if they're actually yours. Are they society values that male or female has to look a certain way, play a certain role? Are they values that your parents instilled in you that just don't apply anymore? It's not who you are, right? Like your sense of identity on a higher level, not just your identity in society or in your family role, but who do you want to be? Gratitude practice, listing off 3 things every day that you're thankful for. And not just, okay, I'm thankful for food. I'm thankful for, the sunshine. It's connecting to the emotion that it allows you to feel. So why are you thankful for that? Why are you grateful for that? What is it allowing you to feel? Peace, security, safety, nurturing. Those would be the emotions that you are grateful for, those things allowing you to feel. Gratitude lists, they're great. They boost connection, being able to appreciate and see things, the bigger picture. instead of just getting stuck up in sometimes our own human experience, right? If you're disconnected from a higher source, your soul, your guides, your team, God, whatever you know are connected to, when you disconnect from that, then it becomes only this lifetime, only this life, only this human body, and you miss the bigger picture. Other ways of connecting with the crown chakra would be meditation, prayer, violet or white crystals. So that's anything like amethyst, clear quartz, time and silence. So I know I said silence, you got to be careful because your mind can just, run crazy. However, it's appreciating the sunset while, or watching the waves in the water, or just enjoying a cup of tea while the kids are asleep. It's silence that means peace without chaos. And it's a comfortable silence, making space for that. Silence is just not the external, extra noise. Sometimes you can just lose yourself in a moment of being in nature and listening to the birds and like, wow, like just having a sense of awe. And yes, I keep looking out my window because I'm like, God, nature is just amazing, right? Like the trees, and they're like changing colors now in the fall and stuff. And there's just so much awe to that. It's never the same. Every year I look out my window and it's completely different. Something else has grown, something else has died. There's different animals that come and go. So like just connecting with that. That helps you connect with that crown chakra. And obviously, meditation is creating space for your higher self, your soul, your guides to actually talk to you. If you're constantly busy and distracted with noise, then they're not going to get through. So let's talk about those lesser known chakras. So at the bottom, we have the Earth Star Chakra. Now, that has the frequency of the color black or brown and the energy of I belong to the earth. This is located 12 to 18 inches below the feet. So think about it being in the ground, basically. It impacts deep grounding, ancestral healing, right? Your roots connected to your family, your ancestors, connecting with Gaia. It's Mother Earth. I mean, we came from, the energy of the earth. There's carbon and hydrogen and oxygen and all the elements that make this physical human body very carbon based. That comes from earth. Without those elements that came from earth, we wouldn't exist. So it's grounding into that. Signs of being blocked are being disconnected from the body more so than just the root chakra. It's almost like a floaty feeling where you don't feel fully in your body. It's almost that kind of dreamy feeling outside of your body. It's also being disconnected from your ancestry, right? It's either not knowing where you come from, your lineage, or denying it. Oh, it was horrible. And what's the point of knowing my ancestor 400 years ago, or, 3 generations, my great grandpa, who cares? It's that kind that is a block because you have to know where you came from. One, so you can learn from it and not repeat that shit, but also you can do things differently. You can heal it, be a pattern breaker. If you see like, wow, there's alcoholism runs in the family for 4 generations, everybody's been alcoholic. I'm not going to go down that path. I'm not going to be an alcoholic. So being able to see where you come from to do things differently. So some ways to connect with this and heal this is family tree reflection. I was just saying, explore that lineage. Take notes of the strengths and the struggles that repeat. Either break the pattern or see it as, wow, we're really resilient. Everybody struggled, Great Depression, safety, security. We didn't have a lot of money, but we knew how to have fun. We knew how to still find joy that didn't cost any money. We were very simple. We connected. Like that would be a strength to look at. Another thing would be a body scan meditation, noticing especially the feet and the legs, if there is tension, resistance, aches, and then breathing into it and releasing. Definitely those grounding meditations, your roots way down into the center of the earth, reaching Gaia, barefoot on the ground, anything with nature, gardening, putting your hands in the soil, really connecting with that earth energy. The crystal hematite is a good one. Mahogany obsidian. There's some like moss agate, like some very earthy crystals. And drumming is also very earth energy. Thinking about the pulse of the earth itself. All right, next up is the Soul Star Chakra. Now this comes in as magenta or white gold. I personally see it as magenta. I very much like that. It is the energy of I am divine light. It is about 6 to 12 inches above your head, and it impacts your soul purpose and your karma. Your karma is the cause and effect, the things that you've done that resulted in other things throughout lifetimes. So that's why I said, yes, the crown chakra can give you like your soul purpose, your meaning, but it's really the soul star chakra that I see that it comes through as a soul purpose. What am I here to learn, overcome, patterns to break? Signs of blockages would be just that, not knowing your soul purpose. Confusion about your path, not knowing where you're headed or going on a bigger scale, not just, oh, I got to pay my bills, so I need a job, but, what is my purpose on that soul level? What am I here to learn? So some things you can do would be to draw your life as a timeline and then mark turning points and see what's the bigger pattern there. The turning points, what is things repeating? Good or bad. It's not about judgment. It's about seeing the patterns to say, oh, wow. Even just looking at your life and saying, okay, when were you the happiest? And then seeing if that's more of your soul calling to be like, wow, that really lit me up. I need to do more of that in my life. I've let that go. Wow, I used to paint, but now I don't make time for it. But I really felt connected, and in the zone. And I felt really lit up when, I painted. So that's also like purpose journaling, writing, what lights you up. I would also say, if there was no fear of failure, what would you do? That really taps into more of the soul purpose and calling part of it, instead of the things that get in the way with society, adulting, things that were expected, obligations, that sort of thing. Other spiritual practices would include the Akashic records. Now, that includes getting a reading to see where your soul has been, where it's going, where you are right now. It's your soul book. So it gives you all of that information. There's also Akashic record healing. So if your soul is repeating patterns from many lifetimes and, you have the same bad relationships over and over, it's time to cut that cord, burn that soul contract, release that vow, whatever was said or done that's been carrying over for a lifetime, so you can truly break that pattern. I, of course, offer those services. You can check them out on my website to do an Akashic reading or an Akashic healing to really release and get at that root level. Next up is the stellar gateway chakra. This shows up as gold white, kind of a combo there. And it is the energy of I am infinite. Now, this is such big energy stuff, like so much bigger than like, yes, I am a spirit in a human body. I have a soul that's had multiple lifetimes that are all happening at the same time because there's no such thing as time. But this is big. This is consciousness level, truly source level, divine matrix. It's big stuff. Now, it's located 12 to 18 inches above the soul star. So this is, definitely up there. It impacts our connection to our star seed family, galactic connections, higher dimensions, infinite potential, plugging into the divine matrix to see that everything is connected, which means anything is possible when our frequency matches that we're trying to manifest or attract into our life. Signs of blockages would be feeling small or like only this lifetime matters. That can also put a lot of pressure on yourself, and your ego has a lot to do with that. Like, okay, I know I've got multiple lives. I know that I'm spirit. I know that I'm bigger than this, but this life matters, and I got to get this right. And if I mess this up, then I don't get any other chance. And that puts a lot of pressure on trying to do everything in one lifetime, which honestly is impossible. It's right. It's fear of making the wrong choice, thinking, oh my gosh, if I say yes to this, it means I say no to that, and I'll never get to experience that. You've experienced multiple things and you're going to continue to do so. Being disconnected from that puts a lot of that pressure on there that, to get it right in this life. It's okay if you mess up. We all messed up multiple times and we're going to continue to mess up. And that's the great thing about this human experience. You mess up, you learn from it, you grow. It's great. And you get do-overs, second chances, all the flipping time. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to get it all right in one life because you never want to come back. You never want to do this again. Every time you cross over, trust me, you're like, ooh, that was kind of fun. I'm going to do it again. Completely different perspective. You'll come back. Y'all do. It's also feeling like, not being connected to that higher power, or trouble manifesting, right? Infinite potential and thinking that you can't bring in that potential. So some things you can do. Stargazing. Reconnecting to your star family. Which constellation is your favorite? Which one feels familiar? Now, as a child, way younger than I should have, I was obsessed with Orion, the constellation Orion. And then I found out that, yes, I have some Orion lineage star seed family stuff going on. So I was like, oh, that makes sense to why I was literally, 7 years old, obsessed with Orion as a constellation. Do your research on different star seed families and see which one feels more like your personality. So, are you a healer? Are you more analytical? Do you like solving puzzles and problems? Do you like working in groups and connecting with community? Or are you more independent? All of these are characteristics of star seed families that, you are a part of. We all are. We all came from the stars. Some more, we've had longer lifetimes and some more than others, or in this lifetime, the connection to that one. Like when I was, growing up, my Orion connections was stronger for what I needed to do to survive living a life of trauma. I needed those skill sets. And then I moved into the healer capacity, and now I'm more connected to the, Palladian, Lemurian for the healer stuff. And then Arcturians, it's a whole other thing. But yes, so depending upon where you're at in this lifetime and what your soul purpose is for this life, you may be connecting with certain star seeds, even though we've been most all of them anyways. Dream big. If there's infinite possibilities, what frequency would you need to match to create it? Another way of saying this is act the part you want to be. If you want to be fit and healthy, what would you need to do? How would you need to think, feel, and act to create that reality? Well, you'd have to love your body enough to want to feed it nutritious food and to move it in a way that feels good, not punishment and hurts. I dance. I do some strength training. I don't go to the gym anymore. To me, the gym would be punishment. It was a whole different phase of my life, and I don't like it. But I move my body in a way that feels good. You'd also have to be dedicated and committed to a routine. Maybe you have to stop talking bad about yourself and how your body looks or feels and appreciate it more. That's what I mean by matching the frequency of what you want in your life. Also, speaking of frequencies, there's frequencies of sound, tones, music. Notice which ones feel good and energize you. What colors calm you versus which ones amp you up. It's all frequency. Tap into that and use it for your own benefit. And speaking of frequency, they are making my ear ring really loud right now. So that's just hilarious. Spirit always has a sense of humor. All right, so chakras as a connected system. So here's the important thing. It's almost never one chakra, ever. That's the issue. We're a system. Our chakras are like instruments in a band. You can't just tune one string and ignore the rest. So I'll give you an example from a Reiki session I did recently. My client's solar plexus was on fire, literally radiating heat. I was like, ooh, this is really hot. She was a ball of anger. And then when I checked her sacral chakra just below that, it was ice cold. She had cut off her emotions because feeling sadness or vulnerability felt unsafe. So anger became the only emotion she'd let herself express. It felt stronger, safer, more protective. But here's the thing. Anger wasn't even the root problem. What she needed was to support her sacral, thawing those frozen emotions, allowing herself to feel hurt and acknowledge pain. That emotional processing cooled down the fire in her solar plexus. Suddenly, she didn't need anger to protect herself anymore. From there, she could forgive, release the past, and actually set those healthy boundaries. And it didn't stop there. She had to use her throat chakra to voice those emotions and boundaries out loud. See how it all links? One chakra doesn't heal in isolation. They all work together. So, what does it mean for creating the life that you want? Manifestation is a whole system process too. You need to flow up and down the chakras. So the bottom up flow, you start at the root. You feel grounded, safe, and present in your body. From that safety, you move into the sacral. You then feel safe to feel your desire, your passion, the thing you want to give birth to. Then the solar plexus brings in the willpower and the action, the energy you need to do the thing. And then the heart adds the love and alignment. The throat expresses it into the world. The third eye sees the vision. And the crown channels divine guidance. I want to create this thing. How do I do it? You go up through the chakras, and then the crown gives you a download and goes, oh, I hadn't thought about doing it like that. I should probably try that. And that's great. It's guidance. Then you have top down. Sometimes it's the opposite. Starts at the top. You get a flash of inspiration through the crown or the third eye, right? Like you get a knowing, you get an idea, you get a vision. Oh, I hadn't even considered that. That looks like it'd be kind of cool. And then you talk it through your throat. Check it out with your heart. Does it feel true to me? Does it support me? Is it expansive? Is it of service to other people to where I love giving this thing that I'm creating? Then the solar plexus gives you the courage to act despite fears of being judged. And the sacral brings passion, again, the energy to that. Oh, I can't wait to get, work on that when I get home from work. I can't wait to work on that project on my day off. And then finally, the root anchors it into the physical reality. Then it shows up as the physical thing that you're manifesting, relationship, a book, a piece of art, a YouTube channel, whatever. So alignment isn't one way. It's when all the chakras are working together. Ideas flow down, desires rising up, meeting in the middle. That's when you feel in the zone, fully embodied, fully inspired, and fully capable of making it happen. So leave me a comment. Which chakra do you think needs the most support in your life right now? And if you're looking for that support, then check out my chakra support Reiki infused meditations with journal prompts, perfect for healing each chakra at your own pace with the added benefit of Reiki healing energy. And those journal prompts for before and after the meditation to really help you go deeper. Or just try my 15-minute chakra tune-up. It's a weekly chakra reset that's also Reiki infused. So if you want to get through all of them, or if you're just like, yep, I just want to, have a tune-up each week, it's great to put that into your routine. But if you need more personalized experience, then book a remote Reiki chakra session with me. You don't even have to leave your house. I'll email you the results, and whenever you set aside time to receive it, the energy will meet you right there. All the links are in the description below.